shit. That was awful.
Should we do it again?
Yeah, let's go now. Hang on. Oh, shit. Oh. That was the longest intro of probably.
We may have to cut that for the welcome back to the Split Shift podcast, where we cut through the bullshit and the noise of the fitness industry. My name is Jamie.
And my name is Dan. Welcome to the new episode. Let's get stuck straight in, I reckon.
Let's
do this. All right.
Well,
just following off real quick of last week, if you haven't watched the previous episode, we're actually following off what Jamie said. We're going to follow off the last game, and we're just going to come back to it, aren't we?
I've got 3 pawns out.
Yep, I've got 2 pawns and a queen.
And
for the Spotify listeners out there.
This is like much more. I feel like I'm already diving into stress just from
I know.
jumping straight into this thing. I feel very, very stressed already.
I don't remember whose turn it was.
But anyway, how's your weekend, man?
Oh, dude, it was all right. It was all right.
Did you do anything cool?
Not much, no. It was, I just, what did I do? I ate some pizza.
Nice.
Just, did a bit of work.
Nice.
Ran a marathon.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
What about
Wait,
you?
what was that?
Yeah, oh, no, I ate some pizza.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And the thing after that was?
I did some work.
Yeah, nice, cool, sweet.
What about you? What you up to?
Oh yeah, so same sort of deal. I had pizza as well actually, and then
Nice.
went for a jog for 42.2 Ks, and and that's it. And then just went for a little bike ride for 82 Ks. But actually, I think I saw you there on my jog, which is cool.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Yeah.
I think it was very similar night. Yeah,
It was similar.
It
was funny. I was actually just looking at this little photo of. I was on my little jog, so and
I didn't know that.
that's you.
We ran a marathon.
Anyway, yes,
We ran a
did
marathon, and this guy also rode 82 kilometers on Sunday after.
But you know what? We're not here to brag, but
We're not here to brag, but
I think
also-
it's unrelatable content. I'm going to ask some questions. We're going to ask each other a
Let's
couple
ask
questions
questions.
for a change. And is Dan's move on the chess game.
Oh, it is okay. It's my
So-
sweet.
Daniel, I have a question for you.
Talk to me.
What would you say to me if I asked you, if I said this, what would your response to me be? I've been weight training for 6 months, and my friend signed up a couple months ago, and they're already lifting more than me. I feel my efforts are just going to waste because people are better than me. It just feels unfair.
What would I say if you said that to me?
What would you say if I said that to you just then?
Pull your fucking head in.
Okay.
Next question.
Okay. It's raining now as well, which is very romantic. I think this is our first rainy pod.
This is our first. I don't think
This is very nice.
It is. It adds to the atmosphere.
Would you say anything else, or just that?
I'll probably just say run your own race, man.
Yep.
Run your own race.
I did.
Let's actually unpack that a little bit more.
Okay.
Let's get a little bit more specific. So they're lifting more than you. They've been doing it for less. Your efforts going to waste because someone's better than you. Well, let's put it simply. First off, is that just know that everyone, someone's always going to be better than you. I think let's be real. Someone's always going to be better than you at something, or at lifting, or at your job, or at whatever. Except for this guy.
Come on. I mean,
He ran a marathon.
it was just really awkward.
Rode 82 kilometers on.
It's just bad timing for that question. I
I
guess.
know, yeah, listen, did you ask that question? Are you the guy?
I'm being ironic.
So anyway, all right. I think this is, so knowing that there is always going to be someone better than you. But again, leaving it at that, I don't think is fair. I think we should find a pretty constructive and supportive way to unpack this a little bit more. So the first off, the big quote that always comes to my head when it comes to anything about comparison is that comparison is the thief of joy. Knowing that there is going to be always something a bit better than you. And yes, there's, in this case, someone has been lifting for a little bit less, but they're lifting a bit more. It happens, you got to just take that shit on. But comparison is the thief of joy. Now, I think what we've got to consider is when we're when knowing that like it doesn't take away your efforts at the end of the day. When we are comparing ourselves, it's yes, again, it kind of takes the power away from us to say like, how can we can change our views, or how can we turn it into a positive? We're just playing the victim of just like, they're just better than me. And ultimately that makes what people want to quit. Like that's a question, or that's kind of like a mentality that's just like, they're on the way to going, fuck this, I'm done. Because they're just better than me in a shorter time. What's the point? And I feel like I've heard that so much with, with clients in the past, for sure. I'm sure you've heard people, I'm like, what's the point? They're like, they're just better than me. Like, I'm like, so? I'm like, anyway, then we get a bit on it. But, I think we also got to consider when it comes to that question is that I think context is important. They are not you. You're not them. That's okay as well. I think it's like, depends. I think it's a very broad question because we don't know who these people are. But I think what you've got to consider is first off, objectively looking at like who that person is, genetics, age, lifestyle beforehand, their stresses in life. Do they have kids? Do you have kids? Like, do they have the same responsibilities as you have? Whatever. Like there is things that's probably a bit more in your control and out of your control. But ultimately these are off the top of my head. There's so many variables that play into why this person may be lifting more. But I think also the problem is that we're looking at just one view, as one tangible view of like, this person's doing X better than me, so I'm just going to give up all of X, Y, Z. You know what I mean? But just based off one thing. And I think that does first off, it does a disservice to them, and it does a disservice to yourself as well. Ultimately, they're putting in equal effort or more effort, or whatever, or just efforts to bettering themselves. And especially if they're your friends, that is like a one-way ticket to resenting that friend, and you can lose that friendship. And then what now? It's not going to change the situation at all, and you probably lost a friend in the process. Or your view on that friend is completely different because there's jealousy.
Yeah.
Or you're just comparing yourself. And so I guess what we're looking to change with that is knowing that like when we get into that frame of mind, you are ultimately doing a disservice to them for sure, but you are doing a disservice to yourself, being able to be a supportive person, we're making this situation become a really like a big negative on how you view goal journeys itself. Goal journeys, to get very clear, is not linear. It's not the same. Every person is there are similarities, but everyone's journeys are so unique and we can 100% can attest to that.
100%.
I'm almost can guarantee like a lot of the processes and systems, don't get me wrong, can be similar. Like a lot of what we talk about is quite universal in terms of mindset building, all that shit. But every person's, goal journeys is very individualized, and it really is only relevant to them. So being able to say like, it's like comparing apples and oranges. I'm just like, it's not really gonna, when you're comparing yourself, I'm like, yes, this person's probably gonna be doing more. They're lifting more in a shorter time. Okay. But like also you're comparing to also so many different variables that may be coming to, to that result, that conclusion as well, that I think to flip that into a positive, you gotta know that like you're bringing yourself down in the process, and ultimately like you're just stopping the person. You're stopping becoming the person that you want to be just by having that mentality.
Yeah, right.
So you're becoming more like, I guess it's like, a lot of the negative traits and bitterness around circle of influence around yourself. And honestly, would you want to live like that? Have that ideal views on people? I
don't think it would be very nice.
I don't think it'd be very nice either.
It doesn't sound very nice.
No, especially if it's your friend.
No.
So,
but I don't have any friends.
But I get it, like, because there is like, it's because you work hard, right? You work hard to what you're doing. You're just thinking like, this fucking person almost got it like on a silver platter, and they're just doing way more in a short amount of time. I get it. Like it can be frustrating, but knowing that you're going to be putting yourself down and stunting your growth in the process purely off just having this mentality. So flipping this into a positive and just keeping yourself to a positive standard or level of standard where you can keep yourself to be able to like, and showing that support that they're doing a good job, because that also can be a reflection of you as well. Because if you're bringing that out to your friends and how you view it to other people, you ultimately bring that back to yourself. And I say they're doing a good job, but also I'm doing a good job as well. Because at the end of the day is that it doesn't discredit your hard work. It doesn't mean that you're working any less. You're working really hard for who you want to be, and the outcome, it's not measured by the numbers that you lift in the gym, for example, like this question. It's measured by, well, it's not even measured by just that. There's so many different things, but knowing that you're putting your effort, it's not avoiding it by letting it impact your self-worth and saying that like you are below, like,
Yes.
that's essentially what I'm
Yeah.
trying to get at. Anyway, I feel like I kind of went a little bit deep on that one, but I think that's the biggest thing is that we're kind of breaking that down, is that first off, you're definitely doing a disservice to yourself and to them as well. Be that supportive friend. Cheer them on, give them a good job, because that is definitely a reflection of you. You don't want to project the feelings of like insecurity or jealousy out into other people where you're resenting your friends who are just out there just trying to give it a crack just as you are.
Yeah.
That's my summary.
I like that.
Thanks, man.
I like that a lot. Round of applause for Jan. Come on, guys. He ran a marathon. Ran a marathon. Now he's doing a podcast.
No bike ride, but
Very bad at chess, though. We've fucking done one move each. No, I think yeah. I think I will respect my friends more now after that. That's very cool.
I'll respect you more after that, actually.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks, man. Well done on the marathon.
Thanks, bro. You too.
Thanks, man.
We both had a good time. It was a great time. But yeah, I think you summed that up pretty well. If I had a friend that if I was in that scenario myself, and if I had
a friend,
if I had any friends,
whatever, fuck you. I take all that back.
I
take all that
This
back.
question is super unrelatable to me because I have no friends. But no, if you're going through that journey, like I think if you're doing anything to try to better yourself, there's always going to be that person that comes along and just does it better, and that could be, or does it worse. And it doesn't really matter. There's going to be people that are worse than you or are better than you. It really does not matter. You're on your own fucking journey. We can say that. And, it's corny as and predictable, and we get it because you know it, but you don't believe it, or you may not believe it, but it is fucking true. But at the end of the day, we are all human, so it's going to be extremely hard to not compare. So I think what I would even do first is maybe unpack the situation in itself. If that person did come in and you're confident that you're working pretty hard, maybe that person is working harder than you. And you could use that as a little bit of a driver. Instead of being a negative thing, get caught in their stream and let them push you, push each other, grow together. It's a
good way to look at it.
Use that as motivation. But maybe you are fully capped out and you're pushing yourself to a max, and maybe they are just a genetic freak. That will happen also. You're never really going to be able to control what the other person does. You can just be a motivator. But as we spoke about with Circle of Influence, you don't want to be that sabotager. You don't want to be that person in their circle that's always talking about how they must be on steroids or this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Just be as Danny said, be the praiser, be that person that's, hyping them up, and they can hype you up, and you're going to be a product of the people that you surround yourself with. So if you're trying to get better results, you may as well surround yourself with people that are better than you. What sport did you used to play as a kid?
Soccer.
So did you get better at soccer when you were playing against the shit teams or the good teams?
Good teams.
Good teams. Exactly right. If you're playing a sporting event and you're playing against better teams, you're going to have to show up and perform better as well, which is in turn, like you might lose the game. That's totally fine. You might lift less than your mate. That's totally fine. But you're getting better than if you were lifting with a mate that's fucking weak.
For sure.
It might stroke your ego a little bit because you're like, oh, I'm better than this person, or I'm faster than this person, or I'm stronger than this person, or I'm funnier than this person. But you're not getting better. They're the ones that's getting better. Your results will be stunted. So I think you actually should surround yourself with people that are better than you in every area. Better than you in business, better than you in, performance, like we're talking about gym stuff, lifestyle-wise. Surround yourself with people that actually are better than you and do make you want to push yourself. But you got to get out of that mindset where it's not fair. If it's not fair, life's not fucking fair.
Life is not fair.
Like he's definitely going to watch this, but we did the marathon. I did the marathon and the bike ride with one of my clients, Mitch Lavender.
Shut up.
He's a genetic freak. Like, you know what I mean? He's actually a freak. We'll do the marathon, not sore at all, did the bike ride, it was totally fine, came in the next day, bench press on the incline more than I bench press, and I've been training 6 days a week for the past probably 14 years. And this guy is a complete casual in the gym. It makes no sense, but if I was like, fuck that guy, I'm going to be really sad. But instead, I jump in with him for marathons. I jump in with him for bike rides because I want to get better. You know what I mean? You can do whatever you really want with that scenario. But I think if you turn it from a negative into more of a positive, it can serve you more than anything else will. You know, being in that scenario where you actually need to show up where you're the smaller fish, you know, you might have been busting your ass for 6 months and that person did come in two months into your journey and they're already beating your ass. There could be genetic freak, it could be anything, but it's going to force you to actually be like, oh shit, I can be better. I'm going to use that as inspiration and motivation to see that's what I can actually achieve because that's a human. That means I can do that because I'm a human too. One other thing is just focus on making sure that you make sure that you are focusing on controlling what you can control, which is yourself. You can't control what other people do. You know, like we spoke about with circle of influence, if it's people in your sabotager, people in your engagers, whatever it is, you're never really going to be able to control what they do, but you can definitely influence it. You can definitely influence it. Like if you want your friend to lift less than you can definitely like snap their shoulder or something. And they'd probably be out for 6 months. That'll be, you know, that's one way, you know. Otherwise, like you can definitely do that, you know.
No, I did that to myself actually.
Yeah, well, I did that to Dan because he was getting strong. So I actually clipped the back of his snowboard and subluxed his shoulder. So he doesn't know that. We just found that out now.
Wait, what?
That's awkward, yeah. What? No, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so consistency and effort will trump everything.
Always.
So if you're focusing on just trying to beat that person, that might be a little blip on the timeline of your life. It could definitely be a blip. It could be a friend that's with you forever, but it could just be a blip, you know, that you don't even think about in 5 years. If you're focused on just like really feeling bad about that person being better than you, you're not going to be that consistent. Like Dan said before, if you're taking that on negatively, you're going to be much less motivated to get into the gym.
Yeah.
Change it around. Your consistency and effort in your own journey will trump everything. Will trump everybody that just goes hard for 6 months or everybody that goes hard for a couple of years, then falls off the wagon because they went too hard. If you're just showing up day after day after day, week after week after week, and you're showing up to a level that you're happy with, that you know that I'm actually pushing myself, I'm actually seeing progress in myself, you've won. You've won the race. You know, that's what it's all about because you can actually drag that out over 10, 20, 30 years and you're going to be in a much better position than the majority of people around you. I challenge you to try it. Just try it for a short time, try it for like 20 years and then see where you're at as opposed to your peers at the time. I guarantee it'll be better.
I was going to say, you're like dragging out like a short time, like
20 years or so.
Yeah, for a couple of decades, I guess.
If you just try that, just test it out for 20 years.
It's a cheeky challenge, okay?
Yeah, cheeky little challenge. Just be super consistent and focus on what you're doing, focus on your progress just for a couple of decades, see where you're at compared to the people around you right now.
Yeah,
I guarantee you're going to be a lot further along than they are.
So you're going to find out what's your 50-year plan. You know?
Yeah. If you just figure out...
Don't go 5 years.
100%. Figure out where you want to be in 2321. You know,
because by that point we'll be like pretty much almost immortal.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of medicine will be through the roof. And
I hope so.
Yeah, start.
I think I'd be a quite handsome 330-year-old. Anyway, I think that wraps up that question. That's 20 minutes down. We got like 15 minutes left.
Yeah, that's good. That was actually really good. I think you said perfectly, nice and simply across the board. That it's so true that consistency and just dedication to the craft will always beat anything, and it always beat. And it's like, and you see it time and time again of how you piece of shit. You see it time and time again with business, people in business, people in the athletes. Like you look at it, like how good are those success stories of seeing those seeing those people that have like who've started from nothing and they built themselves up to these influential sports figures or these business people who became multi-millionaires who had no startup. Like it can be done. Like ultimately we are all human beings, and yes, there are genetic differences and stuff like that. It can happen, but ultimately with what separates people from doing such great things, they just kept going. They just kept doing it.
Consistency. Like I would even relate if we're relating to business, that person that's come in and just wiped the floor with you, if it is genetic, if it is like they're just an athletic build and you may be starting at a genetic disadvantage, which is totally fine. You know, it doesn't really matter where you start from. It matters what you're doing day to day. That could be like, you know, you're starting a business from scratch and they're born into an already running successful business, you know? You're not going to compare yourself to, if you start a lawn mowing business, you're not going to compare yourself to Jim's mowing. Yeah. You're like, oh, well, that guy just bought a Jim's mowing and he's already got 50 mowers. It's like, well, fucking yeah, he's bought into a franchise. Like, of course. What do you think's going to happen? Anyway, I think we answered that question pretty sufficiently. Are you happy with that? Are you happy with that? I hope so.
I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. We're going to talk about my shoulder later as well after that.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's actually awkward.
We're going to have a fucking chat.
I'm sorry about that.
I got a question for you, man.
Okay.
All right. Jamie.
Darnell, if that is your real name.
I set a goal to drop body fat, but November and December are full of events and I am stressing. Now, what do I do?
I think that's probably 95% of people right now, myself included.
Massive, yeah.
Well, in Australia, you know, sorry to our viewers overseas.
Yeah, clearly. Like
all our viewers in the States, you know.
Got one.
Yeah. Do we actually? Do you look at the stuff? Oh, of course.
Shout out.
Yeah, nice. In Australia, it's summer over Christmas.
It's the best.
It's summer over, well, it's the best unless you want to be shredded in summer. Because, it sucks.
It's awesome because you get to be out in summer on your break, you know, end of year. But also, if you want to get shredded, you're facing with every event on every single fucking weekend.
Literally.
And buffets on buffets for Christmas time.
So I guess the question here would be, first of all, did you shred up until now? Okay, how far along your shreddy journey are you? And that will really determine what you do next. And I would have said probably think about this fucking a few months ago. But anyway, let's say we're already here. Let's assume, because what most people do is they might start in, say, fucking August or September. Let's say they started in September. You know, so they're
ample time.
They're good. They're, you know, moderately. They might be halfway through their cut. You know, they're like, oh shit, it's getting a bit warmer. I better fucking get to the gym. That sort of shit. And they know that almost every weekend they're going to have something coming up because it's Christmas parties, it's all these social sort of occasions. Oh yeah. So all that sort of shit's going to be coming up in November, December.
Yeah.
Inevitable. First things first, don't fucking stress out. Minimizing that stress is key. Nice, smart. Minimizing that stress is going to be key. The way you need to do that is, like I always say when it comes to overwhelm, all that sort of shit, unpack it all, write shit down. First things first, figure out, okay, events, that's lifestyle based. Family, social, things that most people care about. Not everyone cares about it. That's also okay. You need to figure out what you actually value. You got to figure out what you value first. So we got lifestyle, social, family, and then we have physique, which I'm assuming it's mainly a physique-based goal, which could be for more confidence, for, you know, energy, for, you know, looking better in the mirror, whatever it is. It could just be completely vain, which is totally fine as well. Nothing wrong with that. They're two different things. All right. You can merge them together, but with how that question was structured, I would assume that they're separate. You're trying to shred hard. You're trying to be an aggressive shredder, whatever it is. First of all, figure out what you actually value and what you actually want. When you're looking at these goals in particular, you want to drop a bit of body fat, you want to get leaner. What are you doing it all for? First of all, unpack what are you doing it all for? Because I feel like a lot of people get caught up in these results that they're trying to get and they forget what they're doing it for. So they avoid all this lifestyle stuff. They avoid fun times with their kids where they can share an ice cream, and they avoid going out with their partner because they want to be in that calorie deficit. They avoid, socializing with their friends. But sometimes that result that they wanted is actually to show up as a better mother or father, to be able to show up better for their partner, to be able to, show up better with their friend circle or at work or socialize better. Sometimes that's their actual why. So why would you not do those things, lifestyle, socially? Why would you stop doing those things if that's what you're actually doing it for? I see that all the fucking time. You'd be surprised with how often that's a thing. Like, people are getting this result for this result, but they're avoiding this result because they want this result. It's like, makes no fucking sense.
It's completely counterintuitive.
It's counterintuitive, But people just don't think about it. When they want this result, they just think, okay, I need to get this, blinders on, we got to go for this thing. So figure out, what are you doing it all for? If you are doing it for, I want to, drop this body fat because I need that. I want this confidence. I want to just do something better for me. I want to prove it to myself that I can do it. And I don't really care about a lot of these social occasions. That is fine. Go hard on that goal. Just fucking, when you get there, just don't drink. Don't do any of that shit. That's fine. If that is that. There's no real right answer to this. There's zero right answer. It's up to the person. It's about where on that scale between lifestyle and strict, lifestyle and adherence 100%. You want to go. And that's going to depend week to week. So what I would say next is, if you do want to be able to have that social occasion, if you do want to be able to get out of the box or get out of your little box of, just shredding and enjoy time with people that you really, really care about, pick your events. Pick your events that you just want to unload and just enjoy time with your family and zone out. If you have family coming from overseas, or if you have family coming from this here, there, and everywhere, you're not going to go to that event and just be like, oh no, sorry, I'm cutting. I can't eat with you, or I can't have a drink with you, if that's what you want to do. You're not going to do that because you might not see them again for a long time. You'll probably want to, you will likely want to go to that event and just forget about the gym, forget about all this shit, and just be there, be present with your family and the people you care about. Pick your events, but then there'll be some other events, maybe like a work event, and you fucking hate everybody you work with, like I do. What? Shit. That's on video as well.
Jeez.
You could be a work event. You might be like, well, I don't like these guys anyway. And typically what I would do is I just drink to just get through the event because I fucking hate all of them. Maybe you can just grow up a little bit and just be like, nah, I'm cutting. I don't want to drink today. And that's okay as well, If you can manage the amount of events, let's say you have 6 events and 3 you actually give a fuck about, just enjoy those 3. Be fully present with those 3. Otherwise, long-term down the track, you're likely going to resent this area of your life. With the events that you don't actually care about, fuck them off. Or just go hard, stick with your goals. Does that make sense?
Perfect.
And then from there, I would say, just double check and make sure, because when we're talking about goals over this period, it's a very tricky sort of area. Make sure that you're adjusting your goals to make them realistic. So if I'm going to have all these events on, but I want to drop 5 kilos in the next, 6-7 weeks, the deficit that you're going to have during the week before that event is going to be very fucking aggressive. Maybe not realistic. You can definitely bank some calories during the week so you have more to play with on the weekend. But at the end of the day, if you're just going to let loose and go ham and actually really fully embrace the occasion and enjoy yourself and be present, you might end up back in maintenance, which is okay too. So I would adjust your goals. Actually think about, how many drinks am I realistically? If I'm actually just going to sit back and enjoy the event, how many drinks am I realistically going to have? And I would adjust on the higher end of the spectrum. I would account for more. So you can actually really just fucking not think about this area. Likely that's going to give you that maintenance calorie base. So maybe just adjust your goal. Maybe go through the next couple months, just go through maintenance. Then you can pick that shred back up in January. That's totally fine as well. It's really dependent person to person. What you give a fuck about, what you care about most, but figure out where on that spectrum of lifestyle to adherence you want to play. And that will differ from event to event. That's what I would do. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Fuck yeah.
Totally. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Not much to really elaborate on that. I think you said everything pretty clear. I think it's definitely you're rehashing on your why for to get real crystal clear on what you want to get out of this time of year as well. I think you got to pick your poison is so key. Exactly what you said is that you got to, when you have this time of year, is that just prioritize more events of like where you just want to like, and just be super real with yourself. This is the best time of year to enjoy what, you know, this time with family, time with friends and all that stuff. And yeah, when worst case scenario is that you got to pick up something like, you know, doing the shred around here just to get the X result, but sacrificing these things to elevate your lifestyle, especially this time of year. It just makes you resent and just like, oh, I'm fucking back at Christmas time. I'm fucking sick of this time of year, or, you know, stuff like that. When it's actually a really good time. I think what's important to always remember is that whatever decision you make is just accepting the repercussions of it as well. So if you're willing to, if you're admitting and you're saying, I'm like, I want to let loose a little bit more this Christmas time, awesome. Go back on that scale. How much you want to sacrifice? Okay, you want to sacrifice more of your goals to more social, certain lifestyle. That's completely fine. Just accept the repercussions of that. If you want to be a little bit more on the stricter side because you do care about your, you know, you care about your results, but it's maybe impacting your drinking or maybe, you know, the events that you want to go to, that's fine. Just accept the repercussions of that. There's no, like Jimbo said, I don't think there's much right. There's no right or wrong in how you want to structure this. I think it's just what's most important. It goes back to your values. Just like, what do you ultimately value? What do you want to get out of this time of year? And what, you know, how you want to go about it, go about with it. With picking your poison, when you're doing things like, you know, your event planning and you have those events where like, I want to get absolutely sent on them, go for gold. Christmas time, you know, family events, Christmas party, or whatever it may be. I like my workmates, most of them at least, I don't know. I have a few there. And
talk about Dunko.
I love Dunko.
I love Dunko too.
Love Dunko. Shut up.
He's not going to watch this, so.
I hope so. Imagine it's like the first one. So yeah, anyway. And then there's some events where, especially with like there's some events where you may not want to, but sometimes they just do it anyway. And I think when you just like to get rid of that FOMO is, again, it goes back to your why again. So like you're just rehashing on your reason why it's probably better for you. And it just kind of overcomes that FOMO-y side of just like, oh, you know, I'm just like a weekend warrior. I'm just going for events and I'm like, oh, I need to drink because there's an event on. You don't need a fucking drink. Like, you don't need a drink. I know with like a couple of my, my clients, a lot of them are younger. They're uni students going into, in their 20s, late teens, whatever, and they feel like they need to, drink at every single event, which I understand where they're coming from, because that used to be me. I used to be like, oh, when I see an event on, I'm going to get blind on that event just because. Until you start to really look out and say, okay, do I really need to do that? And it just goes back to your values. It just goes back to your reason why, like why your goals are important, why you may not want to do that, all that type of stuff. And you can rationalize with that. If people, your friends just say, oh, you're fucking, you're not drinking in that event, whatever, just tell them fuck off. Just be like, I've got bigger shit to worry about. Like, it's fine. And that's a whole nother fucking can of worms in itself. And then ultimately pick your strategy. So like calorie banking is really good. You could set up a game plan. I think the more where people see the most success and most confidence, especially when that last question, when they say they're stressed, you'll become the people that approach a strategy and a plan effectively, where they zoom out and look at how can I approach, I know I've got this event coming up on Saturday, and now it's Monday. What do I need to do till then to make sure I can enjoy that event? Because I've admitted that I want to get, I want to have a few, I don't want to drive, I want to get blind.
Just say it.
I want to get fucking bent.
He held back so hard just then I saw it.
It's a little.
I want to become intoxicated.
It's like it's my bender version of something. Just be like, anyway. So the more you have a strategy and a plan, the less stress you're going to feel about it, because ultimately it's just damage control. Something I always say to my clients is that you every time there's an event coming up and you want to openly want to go to and have a bit more fun on these, no matter what time of year, is that you're looking for damage control. You're not looking at finding a way to get everything perfect. it's always going to be suboptimal. It's never going to be the best outcome for your fitness and health goals if we're just looking through that lens. Nice. And so, yeah, that's essentially like your. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Wow, I just lost. Anyway, so come back to the. I guess in summary, pick your poison. Have a strategy and how you want to set yourself up more for the week. Don't leave it to the last minute. They're like, oh no, I want to drink, but I had breakfast out with Tiff this morning, and then I'm going out for lunch now, and now I've got a Christmas party. I'm going to feel shit about it tomorrow. Don't be that person. You have so much control of what you can do earlier, what you can do after. The more you plan, the more you can just admit to say, I did the most I can, and that's okay. And that in itself is a lot of comfort for a lot of people. Because again, you just got to pick between and say, what do you want more out of it? Go back to your values, go back to your goals, all that stuff. I think that's the only thing I can really elaborate on, that you pretty much covered everything that I can think of. Yeah.
I like it. Just make sure that you adjust your goals. Like, the worst thing that you could do is maintain that big shred goal if you know you have all these events that you actually want to participate in and be present in.
Yeah.
One of them has got to give. Like the odds of you adhering to that hard shred during this period where you have all these events on, you're either going to not participate in the events and resent this, or you're going to participate in the event. You're going to participate in the events, but then you're going to fuck your shred and you're going to feel like a failure. So I think avoidance of feeling like a failure by being smart about how you're planning out your week and how you're planning out your results, how you're looking at your results and how you're planning out your goals, that's key. Easiest way to do that, get a fucking coach.
Get a coach. I think it's like acceptance as well of just the situation too. Like, it is a tough time of year to be able to juggle all these things too. So again, it goes back to that damage control. You're just finding the best outcome where you can either go for the best of all worlds or, manage it the best you can. Again, just pick your poison, do your thing, and be super realistic with what you want. There it is.
I agree.
That's it. What a good time.
There you go.
And have fun. Enjoy. It is the festive period. You got a lot of events coming up. So have a good fucking ripper time.
Being present is fucking key.
Being present.
Like, at the end of the day, the majority of people do this shit so they can actually be more present and show up better with other people they care about.
Yep.
So why would you fucking sacrifice the people that you care about and time with the people that you care about to do something that you're doing for that anyway?
And I think if it gets to that point, is because they sucked planning before. Or they sucked the approach before, like they left it to the last minute. And you don't want to be that guy either. And then you've just got to leave it to the last minute. I'm like, oh shit, it's end of October and I've got to focus on my shred now.
Oh, man.
I'm like, don't be that guy. Don't do it for the 10th season in a row. Or the last few seasons, whatever. It's plan ahead, get a coach.
Oh, fuck, I was about to say that. All signs point to getting a coach. Thank you for watching.
This is the Split Shift Pod.
Follow on
Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Grinder. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
For a little travel episode.
Oh.
Stay tuned.
Bye.